Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week of Just Gay Stuff podcast. I am Jess.
And I'm Lauren.
And look, I was really brave today.
We are.
I want to tell you why I was brave.
Okay.
So it was chilly up here in sunny Queensland.
That was already brave of you.
Yeah. And what was brave of me?
It was brave of you to face the cold.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you're a sun baby.
But I did it in shorts.
Ooh.
I wore shorts all day. And I say sunny Queensland, but this morning was actually quite rainy.
All day. Did you not change your pants? You took a change of pants with you.
I did take a change of pants with me, Lauren. I went to tennis this morning and I wore these cheeky little grey sport shorts and I didn't change out of them at all.
Nobody can see them.
No, but that's okay.
I can, but nobody else can.
I'm not even going to stand up for the video.
No, don't. That is extra spicy content only. I'm just kidding. We don't do that.
Now, you told me that you were going to start this episode off with something fun.
I did because...
Were you going to share the joke? Come on, share the joke.
Okay, so we just got home and the Olympics are on and everything, and we're not talking, I'm talking, and you're saying like how annoying I've been because I've been talking through everything.
Oh yeah, so tonight is the first night that I've noticed, and because Lauren's got a new job, I haven't seen her for most of this week.
Yeah.
And tonight...
I just missed you.
Yeah, I missed you too, but Lauren decided to show how much she missed me by talking over every television program.
We were just watching the Olympics and the commentators.
I had a commentator beside me, didn't I?
She wanted to listen to the commentator. I wasn't saying anything relating to the Olympics. I was just saying bullshit. Anyways, that's beside the point. My point is, you know how us gays love astrology, right?
We love astrology, don't we? Everyone I know's got the cosine app. No,
it's not cosine.
Cosine's maps.
Is it? That's definitely not what I've got.
Everyone I know's got the CoStar app, and we've all got our friends on CoStar, so we know like, ooh, are we compatible today?
So Jess and I have ours. Now, I had to tell that Olympic story first for this CoStar to be as accurate as it is, right?
Even though this episode will be out like 2 weeks after Olympics
finishes. But that's fine. It doesn't matter. People will be like, oh yeah, we get it, the gist, right? So let me just look at it quickly. I read the normal stuff, and the normal stuff was just like spend a night at home because it's the first night we've had at home as well.
Yeah, true.
But the funniest part was when I scrolled down, because obviously you and I are friends on CoStar.
We are. I think we're more than friends.
We're more than friends
on
CoStar in real life, and compatibility.
We're more than friends in CoStar in real life.
But I read this bit where it said, take turns talking with Jess. If you feel like you're always running out of time with Jess, it's because you have been doing all the talking.
It's so relatable right now.
And that's why I pissed myself laughing. And Jess was like, what the frick is going on?
And I was like, don't tell me now. Tell me when we go in to record.
So I thought that was the funniest thing right now.
That is very funny.
I was like, okay, CoStar, calm down with your accuracy.
It's very fitting. Well, that was a great way to start the episode. And I thought that this episode could be a really fun one. As some of you know, a few weeks ago, we attended this really awesome event called Queer Switch.
Woo! Shout out to Jules and Rach.
Shout out to Jules and Rach. Queer Switch. It was an amazing event. It was a family fun pride event, and Lauren told me that it was the first pride event she had ever attended.
Yeah, it was.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Anyway, it got me thinking about the fact that Lauren and I still don't know so many things about each other.
I think we're learning something every day.
Absolutely. But it got me thinking about firsts. Like, it was your first pride event.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what are the other firsts that we haven't shared with each other in our life?
I think that's a great topic because we kind of went into a stage where we went into the hard-hitting conversations first.
Did.
We didn't go, what's your first this, what's your favourite colour that, you know.
We went straight to, oh, you went through this terrible time in your life? Me too.
Trauma bonding.
Yeah, let's trauma bond over it. I thought it would be fun if we exchanged some stories about our firsts and we can talk about those experiences together, and I can learn about Lauren's other first experiences and she can learn about mine because like we've said before on the pod, we are learning about each other in real time the same way that you are learning about us in real time.
And all our antics.
Yeah, all of our antics. Okay, so I wanted to start off with Queer Switch as an event.
Yeah.
It was your first queer event.
It was.
Let's talk about it. So why did it take you so long to go to a queer event, and what did you think of it?
I don't know why it took me so long to go to a queer event. Similar to you, I never really immersed myself.
Also, you came out later in life, though.
Yeah, I came out later in life, came out at 26, but I still had a lot of like gay or in the rainbow community friends. I just never had gone to one.
Did no one invite you? Or were you invited and you just kind of kept to yourself?
No one invited me, but I didn't really have anyone to go with.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't really like, when I came out and then I met our mutual friend Beck. So like I didn't really go. And that was probably the first time I had really immersed myself in any of the queer stuff. I had only just gone to the beat at 26, 27.
Yeah.
So, that's sad.
That's a big experience to go to.
Yeah, that's a sad. Just throwing that first in there. But I think I'm glad that Queer Switch was my first big Pride event. I'm very grateful and humbled to Jules and Rach for putting on such an awesome event in Ipswich. Like, it was an amazing day. We have so many more new fans now because of it. Like,
new listeners.
They're
not fans.
Not fans. You know what I meant. I was living the dream.
Quick little shout out to anybody who did start following us from Queer Switch and is currently listening. Thank you so much for joining us on our socials and joining us on our little podcasting journey. And now we get to chat to you every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday or every Monday you enjoy. And I love that.
Whatever day takes your fancy.
Or any day, really, because we're on Spotify or a streaming platform. So whatever day you choose to listen to us. Yeah, an incredible experience. They're amazing drag artists, amazing queer artists. Just all walks of life. It felt like a massive celebration and I just felt so really humbled to be there.
Yeah. My first Pride event was Pride Fair Day held at New Farm Park.
Oh, yeah.
Probably back in 2015, maybe 2015, 2016. I think that's
still in the closet.
Well, yeah. I think that's the first time I played because our band at the time got asked to play. So we played.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was just about to say, and you played some of the Pride days. Hey?
Yeah. That was the first time I'd ever kind of been around so much queer culture. And at the time, I don't really think that I really took it in as much as I could have. But when you're there doing other things,
working,
you're not really there and are able to immerse yourself without going, oh, what's the time? Oh, I've got to do this. And then anxiety still fills me up every time like I go on stage and stuff. So you are dealing with those emotions as well. But then since I'd been back to play another one, and then we played Big Gay Day at the back of the Wickham.
That's cool.
Can't even remember the year. It was the year that Boy George DJ'd and Sarah DeBono from The Voice played and the Potbellies.
Oh, cool.
So that was fun. But other than that, I haven't really been to queer events that I haven't been working at, quote unquote.
I was going to say, technically you were quote unquote working at Queer Switch.
Yeah.
But how did that feel? I guess because it was a little bit different from the perspective, yes, you played original Scarlet Gunner show essentially, but being with the Just Gay Stuff podcast and first really immersing yourself in that experience, how was that?
Immersing is definitely such a great word to use because I feel like I was finally a part of something bigger than myself that wasn't just music.
Yeah.
And to be relatable for somebody else. I think that's the other thing about this podcast and the opportunities that we get by doing it is that you suddenly are relatable for someone else to come up and talk to. And we had so many beautiful people come up and we did do a little bit of a live. Unfortunately, with technical difficulties, we didn't get to record that. And so that's
She's kind of redoing this
now.
that's
why we're kind of doing first now because we started doing that on the day. But we had beautiful people come up and talk about some of their first experiences. And I think when people are so willing to come up and have a chat to you, that really gives me that substance of like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, it's that sense of life to be like, oh my God, we're this like nice anchor for these people to feel safe and welcome.
Sense
to
of community as well, because it's such a big thing.
That's a great word, community. I think that's definitely how I felt at Queer Switch.
Part of the community.
Everybody was just blessed and living their best lives.
Yeah.
So in the live, we did kind of touch on this and you just spoke about people coming up and being super vulnerable with us. Someone came up to us and spoke about their very first kiss.
Yeah.
So when was your very first kiss?
My very first kiss. Not gay kiss, just normal kiss.
I mean, you could do normal kiss and then gay kiss.
Yeah, gay kiss is down the line.
Oh, okay. Well, then do normal kiss.
I told you to read over the notes, Lauren. Did you not read
it? I did, but I was going with the flow, bro.
My very first kiss ever, not gay kiss, just normal kiss, I think I was 9 and I was friends with this boy. Yeah, heterogeneous. And he would invite me over to his house for dinner, like never a sleepover, obviously. We're 9.
I was like, calm down.
Yeah. I was allowed to go to his house for the day and then we would have dinner at his house and then my mum would, oh, am I boring you? Laura just yawned. Sorry. Is it because it's a hetero story?
Yeah,
okay. No. So I'd go to his house for dinner and then we would play like video games. He was an Xbox kid. I'm a PlayStation girl. Whatever.
The stars were destined to fall from the beginning.
Anyway, so He was my first kiss, like my first proper kiss, and it was very sloppy. I do remember it. It wasn't great, but
And
it
you were
happened.
like, not
It
into
happened.
that.
What about your first kiss ever? Not gay kiss.
No, okay. First kiss ever. Oh, I don't remember yesterday, so this is hard. No, I'm just kidding.
It wasn't yesterday.
No, it wasn't yesterday.
I kissed you a year ago at least.
Yeah, you did. The reason I laughed, and I told you that I had a story to tell in the car when we were talking about doing this episode
Yeah.
potentially and stuff, and I laughed because
Am I going to look at you differently?
probably because it's bad, and I'm being super vulnerable, and I don't think I've ever told this story to anyone other, like family know and stuff, but to anyone else.
Wow, so now you're telling the world.
I am. I'm being vulnerable to the world. I must have been younger than probably like no, it probably was 9 actually.
Yeah.
Or that 8 or like just a bit younger.
We seem to be on the same wavelength with these things, yeah.
And again, I think hetero kiss. I can't.
Yes, you can. You've opened the door
I
now.
have. So, you know, like when you're kids, you're curious and everything, and it doesn't matter who it is, and
Yeah.
you talk about it. So maybe it was younger. I
You
don't-
just want to experience
yeah,
something.
maybe it was younger. I don't know. Even though I was very shy, I had always been a curious kid. And my mum had recently started dating someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Calm down. It's not like that.
Yeah.
I know what you were thinking, but it wasn't
Your
that.
mind went there.
No, your mind went there.
No, I didn't.
And he had 2 kids to a different marriage, a girl and a boy. And we all used to have like, because, you know, poor growing up in Melbourne, we had 2 bunk beds and stuff. So we were in the same room. And I remember,
Bunk beds, more room for activities.
no, I ended up kissing my stepbrother.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not the bad part. The bad part is then, and my mum has this videotape. So
Oh,
God help me
no.
if this ever gets out, or like the video ever gets out.
This is not an invitation, Lauren's mom. Do not post that video.
No. We ended up hosting a fake marriage
Oh, God.
where I got married to my stepbrother. I said I was going to be very vulnerable. I told you.
Yeah.
We're learning. I've got to be truthful about this stuff.
This is ridiculous.
I said so. Where I got married to my stepbrother, and my little sister was the officiant. Is that what it's called?
The celebrant?
The celebrant. What did I say? The officiant.
The officiant. She was the fish?
Yeah, she was a fish. She married us, and for some reason she went to my wedding with a giant stuffed bear. But yeah, so my first kiss was with my stepbrother, and we got married. The irony is, however many years later now, we're both gay.
Oh. That's ridiculous.
Did you think I would tell you that kind of story?
I was when you said you have a story and you were being vulnerable, that is not what I expected to leave your mouth. But I'm here for it.
Do you look at me differently
No,
now?
I don't. But all I can say is I'm glad he was your stepbrother. We'd have other issues here.
That's why I said it wasn't that kind of issue. It was different kind of issue.
Lauren, keeping it in the family. All right. Let's move away from that and let's talk about who was your first real crush. I'm not talking celebrity crush. We know that was
Ooh.
Shigo from Kim Possible. Let's go to first real crush.
First, a real crush for me, like in general, or gay crush, or just
Well-
kidding. I've only ever had crushes on women.
I would have said gay crush, but you can go either way.
I don't think I've ever had.
A crush that wasn't gay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that now. I think my first crush, I was in year 8, and it was my English teacher.
Yeah. You touched on that
I did
a couple
touch on
episodes
this.
ago.
Yeah, my English teacher, I just can't remember her name now, but in year 8, and she was like slim and blonde and beautiful.
Why did you crush on her? What was it about
She just
her?
was so nice.
Yeah.
Like she was so nice, and I don't know, she looked good, smelt good, and it was always trying to find excuses to go back to her classroom. And I remember getting really, really sad because she ended up leaving quite early or like halfway through the year and never came back because she was on a TV show with Rebel Wilson.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But it was like before Rebel Wilson was famous. Like it was
So, like,
in
Fat
one of
Pizza?
those. Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. One of those Australian
Yeah.
TV shows. I think it was called The Wedge or something.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
So she was on that. I got so upset that she wasn't coming back. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh.
Oh, sad for you.
What about you?
Well, mine is like, it keeps throwing back to that one girl that I had my first gay kiss with, which is coming up. So I was 10 and the girl, like literally, because Britney Spears was like my first celeb crush, right? This girl in my class, I attributed to Britney Spears.
Did she look like Britney Spears?
She looked like Britney Spears,
Yeah.
like especially when we were younger.
And you had a mad crush for Britney.
I
You had
did.
the hots for Britney.
I did. I remember going to class one day. I was in grade 5. This is in 2001. Shout out to 2001. I was in grade 5 and I remember going up to her one day and literally I said to her, I wish I was a boy so we could be together.
What did she say?
She was like, yeah. And I said to her once, like, we're 10. Like,
Yeah,
what do you
yeah.
know at 10?
Nothing.
But I also want to touch on the fact that at 10 years old, I was already saying, like, I wish that I was different so that you would like me. Like,
Yeah, and isn't that so weird that a part of us knows who we are authentically? I feel like children especially have no filter and no thought process or whatever. We're just like,
yeah. But it's like it had already been drilled into me at 10 that for that to be normalized, I had to be a boy.
Yeah,
Do you know?
that's sad.
That, and I think about that sometimes. And I once said to her also, if I was a boy, would you go out with me? And she was a bit like, not risque, she was 10.
Yeah.
But like, she was a bit like quick-witted and she was like, oh, it depends what you looked like. And I was like,
I would
well,
look like me
I
as a
would
boy.
look like me, but as a boy. And then she was like, oh, yeah.
Aw.
And I crushed on her for years, man. So many years. Like, even up until high school, because we went to the same high school as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
did she know in high school?
I think she would have known.
Was there any like feelings changed or whatever in high school? Like, did she
I remember-
reciprocate?
Well, I remember before sports days, I'd like give her a hug and she'd give me a kiss on the cheek. And that was pretty cute.
Aw.
I used to live for that.
You were like,
She would have no idea. She would never listen to this podcast, but she would have no idea. But I would, yeah.
you were like, sports day's coming up. Is
If
my
she
one
listened,
chance. Yes.
if she listened, she'd know who she is. And all my friends that listen, you know who I'm
Do
talking
you
about.
have her on FaceB?
I do.
Is she gay?
No.
Oh, is she married?
No. She's engaged.
Oh,
Yeah.
sad. Sorry.
Sad. That's okay. I have you. What am I? I'm not crying.
Yeah.
I ain't crying, girl.
I ain't crying.
I ain't crying. I ain't lying. Okay, so let's go to first gay kiss because we kind of touched on that.
We did. Ooh, my first gay kiss.
You already told me about the stepbrother, so let's move forward.
Yeah, well, that wasn't a gay kiss. That was a hetero kiss.
But he's gay now, so does it count as a gay kiss?
Who knows? Who knows?
Just kidding. Just kidding.
My first gay kiss, probably like 15.
You told me briefly that
Yeah.
it was like a theatre thing.
Yeah. I think, I've mentioned constantly all of our episodes that I was a theatre kid, an English kid, whatever.
Nerd.
Yeah. Massive nerd. Massive nerd. I think I remember specifically that there was one time in year 9 that I did 3 production shows in a row. And because we lived in a smallish town, I guess that's what you'd call it, everyone knew everyone, right? Whether you went to the same school or not. So I think my first queer kiss, I remember being at a theatre after party after we'd finished a show, and a different girl had come up to me and was like, oh, hey, my friend likes you or thinks you're hot or something like that. And I was like, okay, cool. And I'm 15. You still don't really know anything at
Yeah.
14. Like I had just turned 15. So
You're
I was
still just-
14 developing and
Still discovering yourself all the way through your life.
yeah, exactly. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, whatever. And I remember that because I remember exactly who hosted. I remember what dress I was wearing. I was
Yeah.
wearing a black polka dot.
Wow, this was like a real moment
Yeah,
for you.
like a black dress with white polka dots and stuff on it. And I remember her coming up and I was like, oh, cool. And I think everyone played Spin the Bottle and got drunk at
Do you know,
that time.
I have never played Spin the Bottle. What? I've never played that game.
Where's a bottle? We'll play right now. Yeah, so it was that. And we played the Spin the Bottle. And I think I kissed so many girls that night. I don't remember. But I remember being so flattered. But I was so annoyed because I had a crush on her friend
Oh.
instead of her.
What a
I'm like,
bummer.
damn.
Did the bottle never land on her?
No.
Oh.
What about you? Who was your first gay kiss?
That girl.
Oh, she was. Oh,
Yep.
no, you did touch
Yep.
on that.
Yeah.
in
I don't even
episodes.
remember how it happened.
I was going to say, considering you never played Spin the Bottle, how'd you guys kiss?
Because we were friends.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
were
yeah.
good friends. And obviously that was such a...
Was it a case of let's practice in case we kiss
No,
boys?
it wasn't that. It wasn't that. This is what I mean. I don't even remember how it happened. I just remember she slept over my house one night and we slept in the lounge room because I only had a single bed. So it was never enough room for 2 people. So we were sleeping in the lounge room and I just remember like her kissing down my neck and then we kissed and then I just remember it like suddenly stopping and then I was like, no, come back.
You're like, oh, tingles.
And then it never happened again. And I was like, oh man. I think that's where I like just
at 10 years old.
I just like crushed on her.
At 10 years old, you were kissing on neck and...
No, well, I wasn't she was kissing my neck.
At 10 years old, though.
I think you have to remember that look at all the television we're fed.
I know, yeah.
You know, so you want to do what you're seeing on TV. And for her, like whether that was bisexual, lesbian, heterosexual, whatever, like any of the sexualities.
Yeah.
Whatever she was seeing on TV, I guess she was just reciprocating because she wanted to like
imitate what she's seen.
Yeah. And that's what we do when we're growing up and discovering what it is to have feelings, what it is to have relationships, what it is to, you know, be, I don't want to say intimate because 10 is way too young for that, but you know, you're discovering what those things feel.
Yeah.
It's the same as like when you realize that boys have different bits to you. And like, I remember this one weekend, I was really good friends with my neighbor.
Yeah.
And he was like, I've never seen a vagina.
Well, you like, show me your bits.
No, well, he was like, I've never seen a vagina. And I was like, haven't you? And then he goes, yeah, in my mind, it's like a circle with a triangle in the middle. And I was like, no, let me show you. So I showed him my bits and he showed me his. And it was just like, oh, okay.
Tit for tat.
Yeah. We're just kids, like figuring each other out. We never did anything. We never kissed. We were just really good friends and just discovering life together.
Well, I can understand that. It's kind of like, I don't understand the pictures and stuff that I'm seeing when you just make up shit in your mind, clearly. And you're like, what does it look like?
I don't even know how I remember him saying, oh, I think it looks like a circle with a triangle in the middle. I think he came to that conclusion because like on a diagram, it's like a circle or a triangle and he just put the two shapes together.
That's
so
true.
random.
So funny. So you spoke a bit about your first gay kiss and the representation, I guess, that was going on for her as well as for you. What was your first gay awakening representation, do you think?
I think the first time I ever saw anything remotely...
I said gay, I meant LGBT, but you know what I meant.
Yeah, I'm going to say, like, if we're talking about lesbian, and I think that's one thing to point out, which we will touch on in an episode when we talk about television and representation and those things. I never saw anything remotely gay man on man as a child growing up. And I think that maybe would have sparked some debate in my head about like, oh, that's normal or that happens or that, you know.
Actually, I agree with that. I think the only sort of man on man thing that really stands out to me would be Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, and that was quite late in the game. But talking about lesbian representation and not even lesbian representation, it was exactly what you said before. This particular movie, the movie was 13 with Nikki Reed and Evan Rachel Wood. In that movie, it wasn't even LGBT. It was that scenario you just mentioned where they're like, oh, do you want to practice so that you know how to kiss a boy?
Yeah.
I think I would have been 12 or 13 at the time, which is fitting. But I think back to watching that now and I was obsessed. And now that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's why.
It does make a lot of sense. I was just infatuated with the fact that this happened and this happened on this movie that I was watching.
And it gave you some sort of feelings.
Yeah. And this is how infatuated I was with this. I mentioned this on the radio a couple of weeks ago for anyone who listened to our radio interview on 4ZZZ. I was so obsessed with the fact that I'd seen these two girls kiss in this movie. I had a Game Boy Color at the time.
Oh my God, for showing your age there, babe.
And it had a little camera thing that you could put on it. And we had a Game Boy printer. And I was taking photos of it. I would tell my best friend to press play. And I would take photo. And then I'd flick through it on the Game Boy Color. So it was like I could rewatch it without watching the movie. And then on the Game Boy printer,
oh my God,
I was like printing photos of these like two actresses kissing because it gave me so much life. And like I said, it makes so much sense now. But at the time, that was really confusing. You're just like, oh, why do I feel these feelings?
Did you do what our friends, well, one of our friends who said that she had Drew Barrymore posted up on her wall. Did you do that with the photos you printed?
Nah, because I think at that point you also know that it's not widely known. You don't see it.
Yeah.
So it is kind of that thing that you...
Taboo.
Yeah, you kind of know in your brain that it is is taboo, and so you hide it away.
Sad.
And I did that. I did that a lot. You know, I had an obsession with tattoo, like I
was
which
like,
I
what?
mentioned
Yeah.
in other episodes.
Way back.
And I think at that time I actually had a scrapbook, and I would cut out all the pictures. And funnily enough, their photos were always in the back of like the porn magazines.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And like, so I'd cut them out of there, and then
Didn't give a shit about the porn.
no. And so I'd cut that out of there, and I'd put them all in the scrapbook. And I remember being in grade 7, and I had this scrapbook with me. At the time, I was just like, oh, I really like this band. Well, these two girls that were singing, I really like this duo. I didn't know why at the time. They just kind of spoke to me, and I liked what I was seeing. And I remember like the teacher looking at my scrapbook being like, wow, that's pretty pornographic.
Really?
Yeah. And at the time, I didn't think of that. And my parents were always super chill. They didn't care.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh,
They were like, she's just creative.
she's making scrapbooks. Like, she's so
just
cool.
got creative flow. Okay.
She'll be making cards in like 2 years.
She's just an artist. I didn't really watch a queer film per se. It was more probably around the same time I had my first gay kiss, like
So 15,
16. Yeah. And like having those kisses already ignited something in me. But I think it was a little bit different for me because I identified as bisexual from 12 years old. So at 15, 16, when I had that first queer kiss, yes, I felt flutters and stuff, but I didn't necessarily be all end all. And because I had never had a partner until I was 20 years old, so I didn't know anything.
Late bloomer all round, weren't you?
Yeah, well, so I didn't know anything. But I think for me, the representation that I saw, I can't even remember how I stumbled across this movie. It just was on TV one night, and it was Cruel Intentions.
See, that movie though used to be on like frequently on a Friday night.
Friday night or something. That was before they played all the Harry Potters in a row.
Hilariously, I've still not seen that movie.
Yeah, that's okay. I've still not seen 13.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Maybe we need to do a movie watch
Movie
exchange.
swaps.
Yeah.
I remember particularly this one scene where Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, she's a bitch in the movie essentially, and she's all up herself and popular, and she's the pretty girl. This one scene where they're trying to teach Selma Blair how to pash.
Yeah.
And it's just that kiss over and over again of Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair kissing. And you see at the end, Selma Blair's character is so into it that she like leans in afterwards, and Sarah Michelle Gellar's character is like
leaning
pulls
out.
away and leaning out because she's just doing it for fun. She doesn't care. Like she's teaching. And you see the fires ignite in Selma Blair's character be like, oh my God, that's what that feels like. Because her character comes from that sense of innocence of I don't know any better and anything.
So was her character actually gay after that?
No. The characters weren't gay after that, and it was nothing. Like honestly, the whole movie's got nothing to do with queerness or anything. But I think my first female to female kiss was between these two, and it's just stayed in my mind, and I was like, oh, that's ignited something in me different to me just being bisexual or being this
or when
way.
you see like heterosexual representation on TV, it doesn't really do much for you.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, I'll just rewind that again.
Yeah, that was literally it. The rewind button was my best friend.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that when we do our TV
shows. Oh, I could go with such a deep dive on these
We
things,
will.
honestly.
We will.
This next one might be a bit of a fun one, I think. So I wanted to know, when was your first experience, whether you went to a movie or whatever you did, parent-free?
I remember it clear as day, and I remember it being super scary yet super exciting.
Yeah.
But it was my best friend and I went to Jimmy Neutron at the cinema and we saw that movie. And I think I was telling you the other day about how different it was back then to go somewhere parent-free, because we didn't have mobile phones and we weren't instantly contactable. How scary it must have been for parents in those days to just drop your child off with no way to contact them and just hope that they meet you in the spot that you've told them to meet you at for pickup. Yeah. Because I remember this particular cinema that we used to go to was awesome, and it was in the middle of a big shopping center, not like a Westfield, big shopping center, and they had, it was great. They had like not a time zone, but like little games and stuff like that. And I remember vividly, it would be, we drop you off at this door, you go up to your movie, movie. Oh, the movie goes for 2 hours. You want to walk around the shops? Okay, here's an extra hour and we'll pick you up at 3 o'clock, say. And you have to be on this bench for me to drive past at 3 o'clock. Imagine if your kid wasn't there.
Yeah.
And how the times have changed with us being so contactable. Like, our parents didn't have that.
That's a really interesting concept because as you were talking, I was just thinking it was such a different time because we never strayed from that. I don't know, some people might have.
Yes,
but
I think some people would have, definitely.
Some people might have, but I know with my sisters or with my best friend, similar situation, we never would stray. It would be like, we have this time limit. You do this, we'll pick you up at this time. And we were always there.
Do you know what it is? Some people would call that being a goody-goody. Do you know what I think that is? It's respect for your parents.
Yeah, and also we didn't want to catch transport home.
Yeah, well that. There wasn't fear back in those days though.
No, there wasn't, but I think respect is a great word actually.
What about your first experience? What did you do first that you can remember without parental supervision? That wasn't kissing your stepbrother and getting married to him.
No, that was parental supervision. My mum was holding the video camera.
That's even worse.
I think my first unsupervised thing, which is probably worse, was a concert.
Wow.
At 12 years old, and it was just my sister and I. We went on a train. Mum dropped us off at the stadium and we walked together into the stadium. We were going to see Hilary Duff, so, you know, gay icon.
Oh, Hillary. That's so gay.
So gay. Still such a gay icon.
I fucking love Hillary
Me
Duff.
too.
Okay, continue.
And I was 12 years old. And
so yesterday.
yeah. But the same concept. It was mum will drop you off at the concert, walk in. Mum made friends with some randoms that were walking in that were obviously adults and just said, hey, can you watch out for me kids and make sure they go in? Because, you know, my uncle was friends with someone who runs all the concerts and he had gotten us tickets for Christmas and there was only 2 tickets so mum couldn't go. So she just said, hey, watch out for me kids. Went in. I think Rachel and I were holding hands to make sure we didn't lose each other. Watched the concert. I could not tell you what it was about. Like, I know what it was about. It was about Hilary Duff.
Yeah, I mean, it was her concert. What else would it be about, Lauren?
But I mean, I can't remember that far back. And then, yeah, finished the concert, walked back out. Mum was waiting. Same thing.
And you're still here today.
Still here.
Crazy.
Still made it.
Anomaly. All right. So I thought we could end on, what was your first bad breakup experience?
Look, I'm going to be a bit sneaky here and say I think we should end this episode here because I have a whole massive episode prepared on bad breakups and I want to be a bit sneaky. And whoever wants to hear that episode will have to tune in next week.
Ah, that is very sneaky, but also a very good idea. So you heard the lady. If you want to hear those stories, you're going to have to tune in next week.
You sure are. And while we're away, remember to
stay gay, motherfuckers.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Just Gay Stuff. Make sure to follow us at Just Gay Stuff Podcast on all your socials and write to us with your stories at justgaystuffpodcast@gmail.com.